Let's go to Eustis. At least up until this last snowstorm, Eustis had more snow than anywhere else in the state. It's the place to go if you want to hit the trails right now. And while I'm here, there are a couple places that I want to visit. The first is this camping area. This is the exact spot where I brought my DR650 and camped out this past spring. And it is gorgeous. I wanted to see if I could access it with a snowmobile. And I can. And I'd love to be able to get out on the lake. There are campsites here that are boat access only, but in the winter, I can snowmobile to them. But the forecasted ice depth for this area is only 3 to 6 inches, and that's not enough. People have obviously been out there, but I don't want to risk it. Now, I'm not sure there's anyone out there who would actually recommend coming out snowmobiling by yourself. Even a minor mistake can leave you stranded out here. My mistake was slowing down. I wasn't going fast enough, and when I started to go off the trail, I actually stopped so I could shift my weight. I'm not an experienced snowmobiler. The snow is deeper than I had expected. The Vector is known as a trail sled, not a trail braking sled. It's a short track, and it's a 1000cc 4-stroke. It's really heavy. All these things are working against me. And now I find myself buried in almost 2 feet of snow. Whether I can get it out or not isn't really the question. I know I can do it. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. I've got a lot of snow to move, and I don't have any tools to do it. I resort to kicking the snow out with my boots. My plan is to clear enough area around the snowmobile so I can back it up at least a couple of feet. That'll give me some momentum to get it going and get it back on top of the snow. This whole process is a lot of work, and I'm pretty out of shape. I have to take a lot of breaks, and I start sweating profusely. I've got to shed layers, or else when I do stop moving, I'm going to get really cold. I come out to the rural areas of Maine to enjoy the countryside without having to run into a lot of people. But everyone else is doing the exact same thing. It's really rare that you come out to these spots and find yourself alone for any more than a few minutes. This time, I'm down here for about 40 minutes before a snowshoer offers to help.
Not too bad. Oh yeah.
You need a hand?
No, that's okay. I can get it. Thank you.
Alright, well, when we head back out, we'll check with you.
Okay.
Coming out here alone is a risk. But the risk isn't necessarily life or death. Really, I'm risking inconvenience. If I get stuck for a long time, I'm inconveniencing myself.
Once you get moving again, you should be alright.
If I rope in the help of this snowshoer, I'm inconveniencing him.
Oh, dog. Take the snow on you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
That wasn't exactly how I wanted to start my day. That set me back by at least an hour. But luckily, I'm out here by myself. I don't have an itinerary. I can do whatever I want. And I can do it when I want. I can change my plans on a whim. And I don't have to worry about what anyone else wants to do. At this point, I can really breathe a sigh of relief. I'm back on the ITS trails, and it's gonna be smooth sailing from here on out, all the way to my second destination, which is Grand Falls. snow totals for this year are a little below average, so even though Eustis has the most snow in the state, the trails do get a little gravelly in sections. Overall, they were pretty good. I see the river, and I see what looks to be some scenic outlooks, with some picnic tables and areas to stop. What I don't see is a giant waterfall, and I'm not sure exactly where it is. This sign makes no mention of the falls, so I'm fairly certain I've missed it. It's time to turn around and backtrack. This is a pretty cool spot, but it's not what I'm looking for. I stop for a short break and then continue on. look at this sign when I came through earlier, I would have noticed that it said Grand Falls was a mile in the opposite direction. I haven't gone too far out of the way, and now I've got a really good idea where it is. Matter of fact, going this direction, I get a view of it through the trees. Based on the map, I thought that Grand Falls would be about 15 miles from Eustis. After all of my backtracking and a couple of wrong turns, I've actually got about 35 miles into this trip so far. It's taken me a little bit longer than I had expected. But I'm here. And now it's time to take in the view. I'd say that Grand Falls was totally worth the stop, but now I have a decision to make. I had wanted to continue on to Coburn Mountain, but I think it might be a little too far. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and I've got plans for tonight. I've got places to be, and I don't think I'll have enough time. I think I'd best just head back to the truck. landing my drone at Grand Falls, I had decided to grab it out of the air. I do this quite often. It's not really a big deal. But this time, I reached my finger just a little bit too far, and it caught the prop. The prop did a number on my finger, and also my finger did a number to the prop too. I thought that would make us even. Finger 1, prop 1. But in reality, the drone flew just fine with only half a prop, while my finger is still infected. The drone definitely came out on top. So my trail riding is done for the day. But this trip isn't exactly over. I had an ulterior motive for wanting to go down and check out that camping area. I brought all my camping gear. And now I'm headed down to the lake to spend the night. Well, I made it. The snowmobile's down here. It's pointed in the right direction to get out, and I'm not stuck. And that's a good start. Now I've just got to set up camp. I'd like to stay at this site on the point because that's the exact same spot that I stayed on my motorcycle.
Not a bad spot. And there's actually a lot of dead trees, but I don't know if I'm supposed to cut them. Probably go off into the woods a little bit to get firewood. The biggest issue is finding someplace to hang the hammock. There doesn't seem to be a lot of good trees around. Let's go scout some out. Really need snowshoes. It's gonna be pretty tough walking. Looks like I'll have to come into here to hang the hammock up. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's definitely not easy walking though. I'll tell you that. Sweating like a pig. And that's not good. Just can't help it. It's so much work just to walk. Still gotta drag the sled over. It's about 3:40. At least an hour before sun will set. It's probably enough time. I might have to collect some wood in the dark. It's alright. I gotta move kind of fast because I'm gonna lose daylight. On the other hand, I don't really feel like it. Oh well. Being back here probably isn't such a bad thing. If it does get any windy, I'll be a little protected. It's also pretty nice and cozy in here. I don't mind it. There's also a little bit less snow in the woods. Making things a little bit easier. I absolutely, positively cannot wait to climb into that hammock tonight. I am beat. Alright. Well, the clouds have rolled in, so I don't think we're going to get like any kind of epic sunset. That's okay. If we did, I'd be obligated to fly the drone, and I'm not sure I really want to take the time to do that. I really should get some shots of this, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'm running out of time. I need to get wood. Haven't gotten any wood, and I need to shovel out a spot to sit by the fire and to have a fire. I got to shovel out the fire pit, so that's my next order of business. It's also snowing, which is pretty cool. As far as winter camping goes, I don't think you could ask for a better day, or really a better spot. Well, this is what I wanted. I wanted winter camping, and that's what I got. Snow on the ground. It's cold. There's been snowmobiling. I've gotten stuck in the snow. It is currently snowing. It doesn't get much more winter than this. Stars are out. It's kind of nice out here. I can't wait to actually just sit down and relax. I haven't eaten anything all day and I'm not even hungry. But I'm definitely going to have something. I've got some options. I bought out steak and potatoes. Potatoes are going to take at least an hour to cook, and I don't even know if I have enough firewood for that long, so I don't know, we'll see. I also have a freeze-dried chili mac with beef, which I really like, and haven't had one for a while, so maybe I'll just heat up some water. I'm going to be up for a little while longer. It's almost 6 o'clock. But I don't think I'll be up for much longer. We'll see. It's going to be an early night. Freaking beautiful out, though. Beautiful. Not a lot of wood, and what we do have is covered in snow, so it's gonna be interesting. see what happens. And I'm not going to fool around today. It's 10 after 6. I want to get this going. So yeah, it's getting the special treatment. So I decided not to make steak and potatoes. I'm just going to heat up some water and make my freeze-dried meal. Fortunately, I'm low on water. Usually something this size would be more than enough for a night out in the woods. I've just been exerting myself so much that I need the water. So I'm going to melt some snow. That's going to take a while. I want to conserve the water I have so I can put it in the cup to facilitate the melting process. Works a lot better if you have a little bit of water in there. So to bring you up to speed, I broke my camp chair. The plastic busted, so now I'm sitting on my cooler. I got some water going, and I got to put it in that container. It's got an awful narrow lid. I also spilled a bunch of my dinner. I wanted it to have plenty of time to rehydrate before it cooled down, so I had it kind of perched up on the fire ring. This huge gust of wind came up and blew it over, and apparently it wasn't sealed, and some of it landed on the snow, so not much. It wasn't that bad. So I've got my water heated up now, and it's melted. Got a fair amount in here. Now I just gotta transfer it in this bottle, which I imagine is gonna be pretty messy. Let's see how it goes. Well, I'll be honest with you, that went about 100 times better than I thought it would. Man, it's got a lot of crap in it though. Dirt. Oh my god, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, good half a bottle. That'll do it. I've got all my layers on at this point, and I'm pretty warm. My feet are cold, even in these insulated boots, but it's not that bad. So the fire burned down a little bit at this point. I actually still have a lot of wood left. I've got like 8 pieces of some pretty big stuff that I got. It's punky, so it wouldn't last very long, but with 8 pieces, I mean, that will last an hour or 2 or more. So I actually got more wood than I thought I did. I could stay out here for a little while longer if I wanted, but I kind of don't. I didn't want to leave the campsite a mess, so I picked up all the little stuff and some of the wood that was on the fire pit when I got here. I had shoveled off, and I wanted to get rid of that, so I piled it all back on, and it was all wet and frozen, so it pretty much put the fire out. So I ended up picking up all the remainder of the little stuff that I had and putting that on there, and that's going to burn up real quick. Just kind of a last hoorah before I go to bed. I got actually quite a bit of water. This 1.5 liter bottle is almost full at this point. So that's good. Figured while I'm out here, I might as well melt some water. Melt some snow for water. So I'll tend this a little bit. Knock some of these little pieces back in so they burn up. Yeah, it's been a pretty good night so far. We're getting there. So I stayed up way later than I thought I would. It's just so awesome out here. It's about 20 past 10 right now. I'm having a really good time. But the fire's about done. It's about time to call it a night. Now, a water bottle is pretty important to keep in your sleeping bag, because otherwise it's going to freeze solid. Now, with these little tiny caps on here, I'm a little worried it might start leaking if I lay all my body weight on it. So, I'm going to put it in this dry sack. You definitely do not want a 1.5 liter bottle of water dumping into your sleeping bag in the middle of the night. That will ruin your day pretty fast. So it is the only thing that goes in this dry sack. This will keep it warm, available when I need it, and still be protected in case it leaks. My heavy winter gloves, they also go in my sleeping bag. They may be a little damp, but if I leave them outside, they're gonna freeze solid. I don't want that. Now, there have been some pretty good wind gusts, and it's not just isolated to the lake. You can hear it coming in through the trees. And it's getting into this area here, even though it's a little sheltered. This is not the best setup for wind. But what I'm gonna do is tie off these little tabs here and close this in. This is the foot end of my hammock. And hopefully that'll prevent it from billowing quite so much. At this point, you may be asking, Adam, what do I do with my 9? Well, I don't have a great answer for you, except that there is a pocket in this hammock that hangs off the side. I guess I'll put it in there. Otherwise, I just don't have a good spot for it. Alright. There's really nothing left to do at this point, but struggle and swear. don't know how many times I dropped this GoPro in the snow. It's got to be a lot. Alright. So now I'm sitting in the hammock. Kinda got things opened up. And I have my socks. Now, the first time I came out, I had one pair of socks. Now I have two. Hopefully, two will be warmer than one. It's been windy out. Man, the wind is really blowing. Now, if you ever tried to get into a sleeping bag when you're in a hammock, it's pretty difficult. That's why a lot of people will choose an underquilt and then an overquilt. If you're going to do that, your underquilt needs to be really substantial because literally there is nothing else under you except for the quilt. Alright. Swinging. I don't really want to be swinging, but I am. Now, I gotta pull my boots off. Ugh. That's kind of a real chore. Alright. Believe it or not, I'm gonna stuff my boots up in the foot of my hammock. I don't like them being on the ground. There's too many variables. They could get knocked over and get snow blown in them. Got critters climbing in them. You just never know. Now, my feet are cold. So, I've got 2 layers. Nice warm wool socks. Boots. Overalls. There's a knock on the snow. I'm gonna knock as much snow off as I can. I don't really want these outside either, so yeah. I'm coming in the hill. Oh man. Got big ice chunks on the bottom of them. That's not good. Peel those off. I will admit, things get pretty complicated in a hammock. Tents are a lot easier. They're not as comfortable. Actually pretty windy. That's alright. I think I'll be all set in here. Be pretty good. Yeah, it's 6:20 in the morning. I didn't sleep bad. I was warm. I did get a little frustrated with my setup. I had to get up twice to pee. Getting in and out of this hammock and a sleeping bag it's more difficult than it should be. And it actually kind of has a real serious flaw. Basically, my feet are jammed down as far as they can go in the bottom of my sleeping bag, but I can't get it positioned
correctly, so it actually covers, up to my shoulders. So my shoulders are actually exposed. Kind of a bigger issue is that I couldn't actually get my sleeping bag around me enough to zip it up. Literally, like my whole upper body was just exposed. The sleeping bag was unzipped. My shoulders weren't covered. And it actually wasn't a big deal because I stayed warm. But in the extremes, that could be kind of a problem. And I'm pretty sure it's just that, climbing in here is so hard, and it's so hard to get things positioned right. I struggle, and I pull, and I squirm, and I couldn't get the sleeping bag closed. Ironically, when I got in this morning, just about 10 minutes ago, now I can get it closed. But I'm about ready to get up anyway, so. Sun's coming up. View of the mountains. Getting ready to head out.